Oh my goodness, you guys, we are finally here. It is day one of the Radiant Art Challenge, guys. It is so fun to see you all here. And I'm going to pull up on screen really quickly my great friend, Mr. Peter Stout, and the amazing Diana Shine. How are you guys?
Good morning, everybody. Doing fantastic. So happy to be here. The energy on day one is always electric.
Yep, this is great. I'm so happy to see everyone here. There's so many people joining us today, and I'm so happy to be part of this.
So fun, you guys. I know that you guys, I want to just give you all a super big high five for being here. I know that Diana, Peter, and I, we're just thrilled to be able to go through this journey together. It's going to be a lot of fun, and very excited that you're here. So I've got a lot of stuff to get through today, guys. We got a big bunch of, slides to get through, a bunch of teaching to get through, a demo to get through, and I want to hear from you guys too. So I've got a bunch of questions for you in my slides. So Diana is going to be here at the end. We're going to do a Q&A, and Peter will be here to help. If there's any questions along the way that I miss or that we want to answer along the way, guys, we're going to do that. But for now, we will switch gears, and I'm going to present here a little bit. We're going to get going.
Fantastic. All right, see you guys on the other side.
See you at the end.
Okay, you guys, so this is the Radiant Acrylic Landscapes Masterclass, and I want to say welcome, everybody. And this is very important, guys. Write this down, radiantartchallenge.com. That is an important website for you. It's going to be your dashboard. I'm going to bring this up again later because I know that there'll be some people who come in a little bit late, but please make sure you write that down, radiantartchallenge.com. That's where you go and say done. Once you get that written down somewhere, you know where to go. Type done in the chat. And then I want to ask you another question here, guys. I love it. Seeing done. Yes. Where are you? Where are you coming in from? Are you any of these cities that are on there? Or are you from somewhere else? Love to hear and see where you guys are coming in because it's always fun. I'm going to see if I can do this too because this might be kind of tricky, but look at this, Greensboro. Oh, look at this. That's a neighbor, man. I don't know. Oswego, New York. Man, I'm getting a lot of done. Done from Long Beach. There we go. I like it. It's okay. Arizona. Look at that. Man. Oh, Hawaii, Alabama, Minnesota, South Carolina, New Mexico, Texas, Calgary, Alberta, Brazil. Brazil in the house. Awesome. Super excited. Florida, Flagstaff, Arizona, Evansville, Indiana, Maryland, Georgia, Ohio, Louisiana, Ontario. Guys, really fun. So as you can see, there's a ton of people from all over the world, and it's super, super fun. We're all here for maybe a little bit different reasons. We're all unique people, and I'd love to get that answer from you too. What brought you here? Like, you saw something, you clicked on something, you said, hey, I'd be interested in doing that. What was it? What was the reason? I'd love to see that. I'd love to see that. Okay, yeah. Let's see, man. Oh, this is painting the light. Somebody says painting the light. I want to learn how to build a painting. Yeah, like from start to finish. I want to learn more. Awesome. Okay, refresher. Yeah. Hey, like get a kickstart to the year, refresh. I want to paint the light. Let's see. Saw you on Facebook. That's cool. That's cool. Light, learn a new style inspired by you. Inspiration. Yes, restart my engine. Bold painting, starting in acrylics, techniques and tips. See, I love this. I love this. I want to understand impressionism. Do you see how, like, I want to learn more from the master. Okay, well, Diana's teaching on Wednesday. No, but what you guys notice is that we're all coming slightly different reasons, a lot of overlapping reasons sometimes, but each of you has a unique voice and a unique story. And that's super, super important, guys. Here's the ground rules. Kind words, right? Whether it's here in the chat, whether that's in the Facebook group, or talking to somebody else, or talking to yourself, it really starts with the words that you're going to speak to yourself. Okay, guys? Can we make that a promise? And I'd love for you to make sure that you have a notebook out, because you're going to want to take notes. You're going to want to paint, but you're also going to want to take notes during this whole time, because some of the stuff that I'm going to share and some of the stuff that Diana's going to share is going to be very valuable. You don't want to miss it. You really don't. We're also giving away some prizes, guys, and it's just going to be, you have to be here live. You have to be chatting with us, and we'll pull out some different names along the way. But when it happens, you're just going to want to email us, and you're going to just chat right now. Got it. I understand. We're going to be giving away some brushes, a few gift cards for art supplies, and also an Amazon gift card later in the time. We have a 3-day roadmap, and some of you will go like, well, I thought there might be another session. There are 3 main teaching sessions. It's Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Okay. On next Monday, there is a celebration. The teaching sessions, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then you have a little bit of time over the weekend to get more painting done. And we have this awesome celebration where we do the biggest prize giveaway on next Monday. So take a screenshot of that and make sure you know what is coming up. Your 3-day roadmap. Today, bold brushwork. Wednesday, freedom with color. Friday, mastering light. Okay, Wednesday is going to be Diana. And if you are excited about that, type it in the chat right now. I can't wait. Can't wait, because it's going to be awesome. It's going to be super good. You got to remember, this is 3 days. Day 2, like I just said, Wednesday is going to be freedom with color. You're going to learn how to mix colors in a way that makes sense and is easy to remember. You're going to understand the most important aspects of color as it relates to art. You're going to learn how to paint with freedom and joy in your color choices. Wednesday is going to be really, really great. And then on Friday, we're going to do mastering light. I'm going to skip this next slide really fast. I'll show it to you, but I didn't finish. It says you will learn how to create paintings that feel as if they're actually glowing, guys. I'm going to be your host here. And this is the thing. This is not just another sip and paint. You're going to learn real skills that will allow you to create beautiful paintings of your own. That's why I want you to have a notepad out. That's why I want you to pay attention. That's why I want you to show up all 3 days. So if you're coming, I missed this in the chat earlier, but type day 2, type day 3 if you're coming to day 2 and day 3, because be here for the whole time, guys. Diana and I are not theory teachers. We're applicant teachers. We both have won many awards. We've sold thousands of paintings, and we've taught tens of thousands of people. Honestly, that's like legit truth. And here's the truth, the other truth. We believe in you. We believe in you. The question is, do you believe in you? Like nobody else can make the changes in your own mind that might need to be made this week. There's some stuff that some of you guys believe about yourself that doesn't help you. You're not being kind to yourself. You're not believing in yourself, and you're the only one that is in charge of your own thoughts. So this is an encouragement to you, because Henry Matisse said creativity takes courage. And so I do want to give you a high five just for showing up. You guys are winners. You're here. You're striving for something more. You want to learn more. You want to grow. Like, that's amazing. That is so good. And know that in this process of painting, in this process of creativity, there's going to be times when you have to dig down and you go like, I need courage. That's normal. And I just want you to know it's normal and that all of us need courage in our artwork. And the truth is, time is the most valuable asset that we have. So honestly, let's be intentional with this time. You got 3 sessions with us over the course of this week. And I'd love you to just chat, put in there, what are you most interested in? Whether that's experimenting, loosening up, freedom, finding freedom in your artwork. Maybe it's just learning something new. Maybe it's color, maybe it's something else that you really want to figure out. Maybe it's just getting back into art, right? I know I saw a couple comments like that. All of the above: freedom, learning new skills, loosen up, bold colors, trying something new, learning to make my own paintings and stop copying others from tutorials. Awesome. Learn, experimenting and learning something new, freedom and joy, learning more about color. Yeah. Try a new painting approaches. Yeah. Diving in. I love it. I love it. Hey, this is great too. Kathy says, I believe in me. That's why I'm here, to learn. I want to learn how to make the most of acrylics. You're in the right place. Experiment and loosen up. And there's a few loosening up. I see that. Loosening up and light. Okay, so guys, I love it. I love seeing it. Again, you might have come for a reason. You might be surprised. I actually went to an event recently where I went not really thinking I needed as much as what I got out of it. And I think that'll be the way it is for some of you guys. You're coming looking for something, and you're going to get a little bit surprised this week when you stick with it, because there's probably going to be several things that hit you and you go, oh, I wasn't even thinking about that. But that's really good, and I needed that. So I'm excited for you. Today, I'm going to show you how to create art that people go crazy for. Look, I honestly have gone down this road a bunch of times, and I've realized that there's something about boldness in your artwork that resonates with people. And if you like, whether that's yourself and your own reaction to your own artwork, man, like, there's something when I was bold and courageous in this, right? And you have the pride of that. Like, that's amazing. Or whether that's other people looking at your work and being mesmerized by it and like wondering, like, how did you do that? Today is going to be really incredible for you guys, but you just need to believe one thing. I need this to go in your head. I'm going to repeat this a bunch of times. You have the courage of a lion in your art. You're looking at me right now and you're saying, but I don't have the courage of a lion in my art. No. You need to plant this thought in your head right now. I have the courage of a lion in my art. I am courageous. Like, that needs to be the future you that you're going to step into and live into right now. Whether you feel like it or not, that needs to become your prominent thought. I'm courageous and I'm bold, and this is what I do. Okay? The thing is that I've heard people say so many times, I need to loosen up. I remember asking that on Instagram a long, long time ago, and getting all these responses, people just saying, yeah, man, like, what do you know, because my question was just generally like, what do you want to grow in your art? And I got so many responses like, I need to loosen up. I need to be more bold. I just feel like I get too nitpicky. Here's the truth. The world rewards certainty, not timidity. And that cuts across a lot of different things, but it's in art too. When you are certain, when you or at least your brushstrokes look certain, man, there's something about it, right? What do you think it is, though? What do you think bold brushstrokes say about the artist? I'd love to hear what your thoughts are on this. Is my sound cutting out? I just saw a comment saying that, but usually when we get comments like that, it's the person's. Okay, I see. Look at this: confidence, fearless, confidence, gutsy, no fear, intention. Intentional is a great word too. That's actually a super important word for us today. They have the confident vision of what they're creating. Freedom to express, freedom of expression, fearlessness, confidence. The artist is willing to take a risk. Bold brushstrokes say the artist knows what they're doing. Yeah. Isn't that the truth? I'll say this, like it implies that they know what they're doing. Always learn, we can never know it all. They know where to put the paint. Yeah, bold and confident. I love it. Freedom, confidence. I mean, these are fearlessness. These are being repeated over and over again here, right? And it's true. Like, there's something about bold brush marks that we look at, and we can kind of like guess, or we at least assume we know that the artist was like feeling so confident, right? What's the flip side though? What are the problems that we encounter when we aren't bold? Well, here's a few. We don't know where to start, so we don't. We start off small and scared. We get stuck after a great start. You know, ever have that happen? You got a good painting going, and then all of a sudden the fear hits you, and you're like, oh my goodness, now what? I don't know what to do. Being paralyzed by perfectionism. Anyone? Perfectionism. Wow, what an enemy of creativity. Overworking and getting too detailed. Been there, done that. Losing the freshness in your painting. Okay. And worst of all, honestly, worst one. Sometimes when we lack courage, we just lose heart and we don't even paint. Anybody been there? Anybody is coming in today after years and years of not painting, or wanting to paint and, you know, trying to paint here and there, but never allowing yourself to fully get into art again because you just don't have the courage, you don't have the boldness, you don't have, you know, you get halfway through a painting, but you never finish it. Okay, so how do we become bold? I'd love to, yeah, look at this. I see some people, yes, very long periods of not painting. I haven't been painting in years and looking for the push to start. This is it, guys. I'm so glad you're here. I am so glad you're here. Over 30 years, not anymore. You stick with me, you're going to be painting. You're going to be creative. You will. You just have to stick close. This is what I'm realizing. Like, you go out there, you wander off, the wolves of fear, they're going to find you. You stick with the pack, man, you're going to be okay. Oh, man. I love it, though. I love it. Okay. So how do we become bold? Oh, man, they're going fast. Dive off and hope for the best. Hey, just start. Loosen up. Don't give up and keep practicing. I love that. Yeah. Jumping in with both feet and painting boldly. Yeah. Take a chance, experiment, put away the inner critic. Heck yeah. Commit to to picking up a brush for a few minutes per day. Paint, play, and just have fun to get bold. Just keep painting. How to become bold? Don't be afraid to make mistakes. Always be willing to take risks. Just do it and enjoy. Get in the studio and just do it. You guys, man, I love it. I love it. Because here's the thing. I read this in a book a long time ago, but this great artist, Harley Brown, says, confidence will come with the hours you put in, but it cannot come cheaply. It's not a freebie. Many things are in life, but confidence is not one of them. Right? We know the rule of 10,000 hours. Like, if you want to master something, you have to invest time. I agree with that. I totally agree with that. To paint with boldness takes a very long time. I do agree with that. Or does it? I have this problem, right? I have a problem with that because I see a few issues. What if you've been painting a really long time and you still struggle with timid brushstrokes? Is there anybody out there that you could say that's true of you? You know, you have been painting for years and you aspire toward boldness in your artwork, but you still are falling back into this little pattern of timid brushwork. Anybody out there? Yeah, I see you. Yes. True for me. Okay, so that's some. What about this? What if you're just starting out? You know, some of you say you're coming back to art after 30 years. Some of you might be here, you're just brand new. You've never even painted before. But you have this desire to be bold in your art. Like, you're just starting out. Will you only be able to be bold after years of painting? Like, sorry, are we just saying like, okay, you're just, 10 years from now, you'll finally be able to be bold? There's that idea that practice makes perfect, right? Does practice make perfect? When I was in school and sports, I remember my coaches sometimes would say, practice doesn't make perfect. Perfect practice makes perfect, right? Because the truth is, what if you are accidentally practicing the wrong things? What if there's something that you're doing, like you're going to the studio, you're putting in work, you're trying to get better, you're trying to do, you're like, I'm aimed in this direction. I really want to be bold, but you keep practicing the wrong things that aren't helping you get to be a courageous, bold painter. Because what's the key? Is it a certain number of paintings? Is it 10,000 hours? Is it an art degree? Is it workshops? Is it being professional? Is it selling paintings? Like, I mean, shoot, if you've ever sold a painting, you know that doesn't like turn on some magical switch that all of a sudden you're like, oh, and now I'm bold, right? But the question is, what if you could paint boldly right now? What if it's not 10 years down the road? Here's what George O'Keeffe said. I've been absolutely terrified every moment of my life, and I've never let it keep me from doing one single thing. Don't you guys just love that? To me, that's like one of the best quotes ever. Because if you want to grow in painting more boldly, you have to make a decision. You believe me? Here's the question. Do you want to paint like a lion? Here's your chance to shout it out in the chat. Yes. Make this decision right now, guys. Make this decision. Even if you've made it before, make it again today. Yes, I want to paint like a lion. I want to be courageous in my creativity. I love it. Roar. Yes. Roar. Yeah. Okay. Like a lion. That's what it's about. I want to paint like a lion. Okay. So, you guys, I just want to implant this. If I could embed this image into your head, into your mind. I want you to take a screenshot of it. I want you to like write it down, you know, when you're taking notes. Like I want you to remember this. I want you to write it down 100 times. And I want you to say it to yourself over and over and over again. I am creative and I am courageous. I am creative and I am courageous. Because it starts right here. But here's the big idea from today, that brushwork is actually a choice. It's intention plus effort. You know, a lot of times when I was asking, like, how do we get past this? And what do bold brushstrokes say about the artist? Like, do you remember when people said intentional? Like, the artist is being very intentional, right? And then when we're talking about like how do we gain confidence, people are like, you got to go, you got to paint, you just got to do it, right? That's what we're talking about here. Is we're talking about those two things coming together, intentionality and effort. And you can actually end up right there with a painting that has bold brush marks. Here's the honest question though, right now. Is anyone nervous about painting today? Is anybody, even though we've been talking about this, is there anybody out there that's still like, man, but Jed, I just got to say, I still feel kind of nervous because it's still been 20 years. I still feel like so some people are like, I just saw somebody say a little. I see people saying no. I see people saying yes. I see people in the middle. I see mildly. Yeah, there you go. I see a hell yes. I love it. Okay. Nope, just excited. So here's the deal. A little. Landscapes always make me nervous. Here's the thing. I'll be honest with you too. I still get nervous too. You know what? I paint in front of thousands of people sometimes. And if you don't think that you're going to ever get nervous about something, then, you know, like you're probably not living in reality, right? Even as much. Like there's just stuff that happens inside. Like you just might have butterflies at some point or something like that. But here's the truth. Even if you don't feel confident, you can choose to paint boldly. That's what it's all about. You might be here today and you might be like, yeah, I'm awesome. I'm feeling so good. Well, you know, want to know something? In 30 minutes while you're in your painting, you might be feeling really different. You might be totally down in the dumps and you might not feel confident at all. Even if you don't feel confident, you can choose to paint boldly. So that's very important for us. Whether we feel really good right now or we do feel nervous right now, we're going to make this choice. And I'm putting this up here again. I am creative and I am courageous. Remember that. The easiest way to create paintings with bold and courageous brushstrokes. That's what we're talking about today. It's honestly, it's easy. And I feel like I put this up there, bold brush secret. Like, look, it's not even a secret. It's the simplest thing in the whole world. It's the simplest thing in the whole world, but you don't do it. A lot of you don't do it. A lot of us don't do it. A lot of us tend to do things a different way. And honestly, this is it. Use your biggest brush as long as possible. You know, grab your biggest brush. Don't get your little brush out. Get your biggest brush out. And come on, that's not so bad. We're going to get our biggest brushes out. We're going to use them. We're just going to be intentional with brush strokes, right? Like whether you have your biggest brush or just a larger brush than you would normally use. That's the easiest, most intentional way to create paintings that are courageous. I love it. So ready to start. Okay, that's not that bad. I know. I'm telling you, not so bad. Yeah. Well, thanks, guys. Okay, I want to show this to you one more time here because this is super, super important. If you weren't here at the very beginning, make sure you take a screenshot of this or write this down somewhere right in front of you on a piece of paper or notepad. RadiantArtChallenge.com. That's the dashboard. That's where you're going to find everything for this. RadiantArtChallenge.com, okay? Also, I just want to say you do not need to paint along with me. You can just relax. You can watch and you can paint later. A lot of times that's easier because you don't feel like you're rushed to have to, keep up with me or anything like that. You can always come back to this. You can rewind it. You can watch it again later. Again, it's up to you. If you want to paint along, that's fine, but don't feel the pressure to do it if you're not feeling like you're up for it. Okay? So we're going to roll this demo, guys. And I want to say it one more time, and I want you to say it one more time where you are. I am creative, and I am courageous. All right, Peter, let's get this thing started. Jumping into the painting, I'm going to use a Liquitex paint marker here, and what I want to do is just draw out my scene. There are a few elements in the scene that I love. There's a few things that I would like to change a little bit. Some of the stuff that I love is these big rocks right here in the foreground. I like the shape of them, and I like the pattern that goes back. But I would like to move the horizon line or the line of sight up a little bit. It's a little bit closer to center than what I would do. So I'm going to just come up here, come across, and make it something in that range. And over here, I'm going to keep the size essentially the same for these trees, but I will probably change a little bit of the shape of the land, come out. But basically these trees I think are fine. They do something kind of like this, and then you can see through a little bit in there, but it's in that range. Something like that. Probably not that big square edge. But, and then I'm just looking. I also think that I want to make the land that's in the background a little bit bigger. So we will have this coming down. I'm just kind of thinking to have a rock that comes out. Okay, but then the land behind it, so I see an island that's something like this, maybe. Need to get a little bit more the liquid paint out of this, so I press it down. They're really fun. I like these markers. They're a good tool for an acrylic painter. So you can see a little bit more. I think I like that. Again, I'm not sure on all of this, but I just think that I kind of like the idea of having a little bit more back there to look at. And then the clouds come something in there. I'm probably gonna make it a little bit more colorful than the subdued look of the photograph. It was a bit more, well, it was a little bit overcast, but it was still a really beautiful day. And there's land that comes out like this. Then it kind of comes again, and it comes all the way across actually. And then it comes back. It probably comes in about there. It looks like there's some different rocks and things that block our view. Get a little bit more of the paint out. And then actually that comes down again here. And then there's a bit more of water in here. And then we've got these bigger rocks that are, I guess it's more like right in here. That's a real big rock. And then there's a couple that are in front of it. And that rock is kind of, yeah, so something, I might need to correct this a bit or make some changes here, but the general gist, I think I've got. And then we'll just add some more of these big rocks, because I want to talk about loose brush strokes, but I want to give you something practical to paint with it. And I want to be careful that I don't do the same shape every time I'm making a rock, which can happen real easy, can't it? If you've ever done something. But you can see that I'm trying to in a sense exaggerate the blockiness of these shapes, and I'm going to also make them a little bit smaller as they go back. But I'm starting with something that is a bit geometric. These are not round rocks on this beach. They're quite jagged, and I like that in rocks, really. I generally, if I'm painting rocks, I try not to make them look real round and uniform. That way I would much rather see rocks that look like they're a bit on the jagged side. And so then there's lots and lots of little rocks back here. Or I should say that they appear a lot smaller because they're further away, but there's quite a few, right? And the scene is made up of this general composition. We've got big rocks, some land mass, another point back here with some trees, and then there's more land that's further back, and obviously more like in the distance over here. But we've made it a little bit bigger just to exaggerate it, and yeah, we're somewhere in this. So that's the design. Now we're going to get to the fun part, and this is where one of the techniques that I like to use if I'm thinking, how do I get bold brush strokes? One of the easiest ways is just simply to grab a big brush. Now you can see this brush is a pretty good size. This is a number 20 brush. You may not have a number 20. If you don't, you could grab something like this. This is, I believe, a number 16. still pretty big. If you don't have that, you can come down and grab something that's a number 12. The other thing, if you want those brushes to appear bigger, blockier, is you can shrink your canvas size. So a number 12 on a smaller canvas, if your canvas was this big, this is a much larger percentage. It's a big part of that canvas, right? And so it's going to be much more similar or even bigger than this number 20 on a 12 by 16. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with my big brush, and I'm just going to start putting in the big dark shapes first. Now, a lot of this is actually fairly dark. There's a lot of shadows and just overall, generally, a lot of the shapes are dark. Now, this is a neutral toned canvas that is going to be in the mid-tones. If we hold up this white, we can see that already the canvas is quite a bit darker than this, although it's not black, right? So it's going to be in the neutral mid-tone area. And so that means as we put this dark on, it's going to be darker. If we put light on, white, anything in that range, it's going to lighten this up. But I like starting on this. It's also a good neutral color for something like sand and the rocks, the little pebbles, and what's going to be underneath all of the big rocks. So we will start with our big brush, and I like to do this because I often will add some color into my black. If I'm using black, I rarely use it straight. I often am grabbing other colors into it, and red is one of those colors that I will grab fairly regularly. So again, I'm looking at the shapes, and I'm not making lots and lots of little brush strokes. I'm grabbing the brush, I'm coming across, and I'm trying to make definitive marks. This brush here is quite a bit on the large side. I don't know if I'm going to use it the whole time because it might limit me in the types of marks that I want to make and some of the control. But I'm using it now because I want to, for one thing, show you by example that it's okay to use a big brush and something even that is potentially a little bit out of your comfort zone and maybe makes you slow down or consider your brush strokes a little bit more than you might otherwise. So it's not going to do every brush stroke perfectly, I can tell you that, but can it do some things really well, and can it help us be thinking big, blocky, geometric? That's what I'm thinking right now, big, blocky, and geometric. I'm also thinking about how do I tie these shapes together. And while I'm not going to be doing it completely with this uber dark color, like this is essentially my darkest dark that I'm putting in right now. And that's not going to be everywhere in the painting. So it's not all going to be tied together, but one thing that I am thinking about is how do these values interlock so that they're not completely separate, and therefore the painting would lack some cohesion and some unity. But the more that I can tie these shapes together in their value families, meaning if the darks can connect to other darks, it will simplify the design of the painting and it will allow it to be a stronger composition. So I've gone about as far as I can with that big brush. So I'm putting it away right now, and I'll probably bring it back. But I'm going to grab this number 12. So this is going to be, that other one, just practically speaking, I couldn't even make a mark that was the size of these smaller rocks. So it's okay to use a smaller brush, and it's okay to do fine detail even. But when you're thinking, I want to paint loosely, a good method to try to do that would be to stick with the biggest brush you can for as long as you can, even when it's slightly or potentially, depending on how much you've done it, very uncomfortable. But you can see that there's a pattern emerging a bit with these rocks, and this is where I'm always evaluating and thinking, do I like the pattern that's emerging? Is it working the way that I want? Or are there things that should be changed or could be better? There's nothing in art that says you cannot make a change. If you see something happening in your painting that you're unsure about, sometimes that little nagging thought or feeling in you is an opportunity to slow down and pause and say, what's happening, and to evaluate your painting. So I like what's happening here. I'm going to add a little bit more blue into my dark mix, and I'm going to come up into this area where these trees are, and I'm going to start putting some of that in. I'm adding back in. I didn't love the blue quite as much as I thought, so I added a little bit more of the red back in. But this doesn't have to be an exact representation of what's there. It doesn't have to look like a tree necessarily right now. All I'm thinking is getting in these dark values and putting something in place that I can shape around later. And I am thinking a bit about these edges and how they can represent a tree, even though they might not look exactly like a tree at this point. Because the softness of the edges is one of the great, I guess I shouldn't say just the softness of the edges. I should say when you're painting, the way that your edges work, are they hard or soft? That contributes a lot to the painting as a whole. Is the painting working? Does it tie together? Is the viewer's eye being drawn to the subject matter that you want, or is it being distracted in other directions? And a lot of that has to do with the contrast of your values, but also the sharpness or softness of your edges. So edges play a very important role in how a painting works together and how it reads. But I feel like I'm at a place now where what I want to do is start moving into the next value. I'm going to come up here and I'm going to grab just a little bit of white into my mix and bring that down so that I'm creating more of a gray color. Now you can see that this black that has red and blue in it, it's turning into a gray that looks somewhat purple. And that makes sense, right? Because those are the colors that are mixed in with it. So I can mix in more color of either red or blue if I want that to be exaggerated a little bit more. One thing I want to say about my colors is that they're on the screen and you can see titanium white, cadmium yellow light, and naphthol red with Mars black. Those are all just normal colors straight out of the tube. This blue right here, I would like to note, is a mix of phthalo blue and ultramarine blue. I don't normally do that, but I had a good pile of both of them and I decided that I would just mix them together. They're both good colors. I love both of them. And I've seen Diana do it actually, where she takes those exact colors, mixes them together, and creates this is a blue that's slightly different, and it works. So I thought I'd try it also. Just another thing for you to know about, but you don't have to do it. It's also to show you that if you don't have the exact color as I have, it's okay. I myself am using more than one of the blues, and it really doesn't matter which one you have. If you're using phthalo blue or ultramarine blue, it's going to be fine. And if you have a different color altogether, it's okay. The main thing is thinking through, how do these colors work together, and how do the values work with the other values in the painting? So you can see that I'm trying to now come back into some of these darks and add just a little bit more color, a little bit more interest, a little bit more nuance, and show the contours of these rocks. So as I'm bringing these they're somewhere between a mid-tone and a dark. They're probably not quite as light as a normal mid-tone. They're still probably on the darker side, but they're not quite as dark as the original black type of color that I had. So, but you can see that they are adding a little bit of the contour to the shapes of these rocks. That's my goal right now, is add some of the variety in and show a bit of the contour. So I'm looking back and forth. Where are the edges of the rocks? And you know, I love rocks because they're quite interesting. There are quite a few edges on these. They really, you know, they have, especially these flat ones, they're not just a big ball that rolls over. It's got quite a bit of interesting edges and shapes right within the rock itself. And these are more colorful than you might want. You could just add in more black and create it to be more of a gray that is there. I sometimes come back into it like I am right now, and I think, yeah, I don't need everything in this to be as colorful as it's moving. So let's grab a little bit more gray and put that in for a while. I'm always just leaning back and forth. You can see the mix of colors here. Close in value. They don't get
Hey guys, Jed, you there? We see that the screen went black, guys. We're just going to troubleshoot it really quick. It's not a big deal. Stuff like this happens every now and then when you're working with computers.
Yeah, I'm here. Sorry about that.
No worries. Yeah, let me just.
I think
double
it
check
isn't the
this
video
real quick.
itself, Peter. I think the video is potentially.
The video file looks good. I'm just going to try re-adding it and
Okay.
resume from where we were.
Okay, we're at 2024.
Excellent. All right, guys, we're going to try to get this back on the road for you ASAP.
Jumping.
Let's see. 2024. Okay. It looks good to me.
Looks good.
All right. Anything
Thank
you
you,
need,
Peter.
Jed, or are you good?
No, this is good. Thank you, guys. Sorry about that. Our apologies, but we're back. Thank you.
Yep. We're back, guys. Enjoy the rest of the demo. We'll be back in a few minutes.
super dark, but it's just kind of mixing back and forth between colors that look a little bit more blue, some that are a little bit more red or violet, and then some that end up being maybe a bit more gray. But I'm thinking in big, blocky brush strokes still. You can see almost most of my brush strokes are flat. I'm using a flat edge. And, you know, every once in a while I do something with the side of the brush. And as we're going, I'm just going to keep looking. Like there's a line here and a mark here that it's not totally making that much sense to me. And sometimes when that happens, it requires a bit of correction. But in some cases, it's also just a matter of tying something together, like I said before, or waiting a little bit to see where the shape is actually wrong. Sometimes things look a little bit off, but it's mostly just that the other parts around it haven't been filled in quite enough. And so every once in a while, you just have to wait. You have to wait, keep moving, and keeping your eye on that area to see, is it being helped or hurt as you keep going. And there have been many times that I've had an area in a painting that I thought was a problem, but I didn't know exactly what to do with it. So I kind of ignored it for the time being, and I moved on and I kept going. And by the time I filled in the rest of the painting, I looked back at the thing that I thought was a problem, and I realized it actually wasn't. It just looked out of place, or the colors didn't blend or harmonize with the rest of the painting, or the values seemed too strong for the moment in time during the painting. But once I got everything else in, or the highlights in, then it actually made sense. So it's not the worst thing in the world. If you don't know what to do, you don't have to try to fix a problem if you don't have an immediate solution. But I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, yeah, I kind of like the feel of the rocks, the pattern, and I don't mind, you know, the shadows and the light, I think, are looking reasonably good. I'm trying to make sure that if there's an area that should have light on it, or should not be the darkest value, that I am at some point coming into it and making just the one or two marks that will call it into what it's supposed to be, and not just leave it. So this is an example of how, what I was just talking about, where I'm kind of squinting my eyes and looking and seeing, do I like the pattern? Does the pattern make sense? And I think generally it does. But because all this sand in here is still lighter than I think it will probably end up being, or at least the color is a little bit different, it's tending to make the rocks stand out a lot more than they really will. But I'm aware of it, so I'm not freaking out or thinking that I need to go change the rocks. I know that really what I need to do is come back and fill in where the sand is, or these little pebbles that are all over. I'm going to do that right now. So I'm going to keep moving with the same general mix of color in here, but I want to add a little bit more white to it so that it lightens. And you just saw me grab a little bit of yellow. I don't know why I did that, but just honestly, I don't know exactly why I did it, except that I'm thinking about some of the sky color, and just maybe there's some seaweed on the sand. I don't know. I'm just thinking I don't mind having a little bit of yellow in there. But a lot of this is going to be now reshaping some of these rocks by cutting around them. So just coming back with this sand type of color, this rock color, which is gray but leaning towards violet. And I'm just filling in. Not a lot of mixing, not a lot of blending, but I still want to be varying this color. It's lighter than the rocks, but just like the rocks have some variety inside of them and different contours that show different reflected light. So the sand can have various areas that are just slightly different. It's what makes a painting more interesting. If everything looks primarily the same, exactly the same, you have a painting that has uniformity or unity, but it lacks harmony. The beauty of harmony is that things are working together, but they're not exactly the same. So you want to figure out how can you bring harmony into your painting. And for me, it's this type of palette makes it real easy to bring harmony in, because I only have 3 colors. I have one mix of blues, I have one red, and I have one yellow, and I have black and white. So everything's going to work together just by virtue of the fact that it's part of the same family. But if I make it all the same, my painting will lack the what am I trying to say? It will lack the interest of having the differences. We want it to be unified, but we want it to have harmony also. It's like going to see a choir that only sang the melody. That would be more boring, less interesting than having the choir that sings all the various parts. Okay, so again, I'm continuing with filling this in, and I'm actually really liking this. I'm really liking the idea that's starting to come out, because I wasn't necessarily thinking, okay, everything down on the bottom half, like all the sand and rocks will be more on the cool side. I wasn't thinking that originally. I was just thinking, I like this scene. It's a little bit, honestly, it's a little bit like it leaves a little bit up to the imagination. I don't know when you saw it, if you thought, oh, this is a boring paint picture. I don't know how Judd's gonna paint this well, or I don't really want to paint this. I know a lot of times that's what happens, is somebody will see the reference photo and think, I don't actually even want to paint that. That's okay. You don't have to. But if that was you, part of that is because the reference photo isn't that amazing. It's not super incredible by itself, but I don't mind that, because a lot of times if you find a reference photo that's absolutely incredibly stunning, what's the point of painting a picture? It already is so incredible. What are you going to add to it if the photograph is, a professional's photograph? I mean, you can copy it. You can try to get as close as you can to copying it, but you might not be adding anything to it. But in a case like this is actually a photo I took when I was out with my daughter, our daughter, on a little daddy-daughter date. And we were at a beach I like to take her sometimes and not tell her exactly where we're going. And we have these funny jokes because I'm not necessarily the best planned person in the world. My wife and daughter used to laugh because one time our daughter asked what I was going to do with her. And I said stuff. Said we're going to go do stuff. And so anyways, they give me a hard time about that still. But I was there that day, and I know how pretty it was, even though it doesn't really come across in the scene, in the photograph really well. It was a very beautiful day. It was very soft, though. It wasn't over the top in any way. But what is happening as I'm painting this is I'm realizing that I'm getting this really nice color combination down here that's grayish. It's a little bit of violet. Sometimes it leans more towards red. Sometimes the violet leans more towards blue. But everything down here is essentially cool in its color. And I think it's going to be really nice when we come back into some of the sky and some of these reflections down here, because there's actually a little bit of water down here, and there's also sand and rocks that are covered with a lot more water, and we can turn those into really neat highlight areas where we're going to be able to see the color of the sky, and we'll make that an exaggerated warm color. Because if you look at the sky in the reference photo, you can see that it is warm. There is a little bit of warmth in that. And I pulled out some of that warmth into the reference photo because I wanted to make sure that that came through. Meaning in the photo editing software, I increased the saturation level of the sky and the overall painting just a little bit because I could see the color in it, but it wasn't coming through at all in the photograph. So we're going to just go with what we see in the sky, as it has some real nice warmth to it. And I think that it's going to be a really beautiful combination with this area down here. We're going to keep it nice and loose, big blocky brush strokes, and then we're going to go up into the sky, and we're going to contrast all the cool that's happening down here with some nice warm colors. And I think we're going to find this painting is going to work quite well. That's my hope. That's my goal. Of course, that's my goal, right? We would never set out with a goal that says I want to do a bonker of a painting, something that's not going to turn out. I'm adding in a little bit of yellow. I think you could see me reach for some of the yellow in this. But the reason for that is I'm thinking slightly about the color of the sky, and I'm thinking about how the land down below does reflect from the sky color, especially when you start getting up closer to the horizon. It begins to act more and more like, not a mirror, that would be the wrong word, but it does reflect more light. If you're looking straight down at your feet, you're not going to see that reflection as well as when you're looking up toward the horizon line. So, grabbed a little bit warmer of a color for this. And we'll just keep moving. Keep on moving. Some of this color I will bring down here every once in a while just to tie it in. And I'll also do the opposite where I come back with more blue. More violet. And we'll work the whole painting together. That's one of my main ideas, is to keep things connected. one of my favorite artist heroes is a guy who has been dead for many years now, but his name was Sergei Bongart. And he said, "Work all over your canvas. Freedom in your work is a sign of experience." Man, I thought I was going to forget the last word. Is a sign of experience. But it is. It's, you know, one thing I've found is that if I get too stuck in one area on my painting, it often means that the rest of my painting is somewhat, it might not be suffering at the moment yet, but sometimes it will just mean that I have one area of my painting that is way further ahead. It might not tie in very well with the rest of the painting. It might not harmonize. So I do try to work on the whole of the painting, not just the individual parts. And working back and forth is one of those ways that I do that. Okay, so are we seeing it a little bit more now? I think I put a little bit of color in some of these areas that I probably should have left. It's okay, I mean, I can cover it quite easily. But I think that there are some areas that probably need to be now covered with the color of the sky, the reflected sky. Okay, and I'm putting a little bit of darker color underneath some of these rocks. I'm trying to, I might not have put it in the right exact place, but trying to establish some of the shadow. Okay, I think I'm standing back just a little bit right now, and I'm looking at it because I think that it's in a pretty good place. I want to move up into this background now. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go with a color that's more similar to what the reference photo has. So I'll grab, I'm trying to get it to be less gray, a little bit less gray, a little bit more of the light blue. I'm going to grab a second brush here because there are a couple layers, and I think I will use one of these old colors that's fairly neutral, and I'm going to put, before I do the real far background land, I'm going to put in a little bit of this land that's a little bit closer. And again, it's almost the exact same color right now that I'm using. I can adjust it more if I need to later. But I'm kind of okay with it just being what it is. Although, I'm going to grab a little bit darker color, put in some of these places. Okay, now I've got this other color that I think can work on some of the hills that are just behind that. So I'm just looking to see about the value. I think it's okay. We'll Try to fill in some of this. Again, I'm not blending much. I'm simply laying in the color. And if you want to come in and do more of the blending, you are very welcome to. But I think it's okay kind of to leave it as it is. Now the next color I want is going to be a little bit lighter than that. I'm hoping that that value is okay, because this should not get too light, and I might have made it a little bit too light. We'll see. It's hard to judge right now because it's going on the neutral gray background, and that's making it a little bit difficult for me to know exactly how light it is. It looks light to me, but part of that might just be that it's on a neutral or a mid-tone. It might be okay. This little area right there, I'm not sure about though. I don't actually know if I'm going to put in that last hill. I think what I'm going to do is just leave it. But I do think I'll also bring in some of this color up into these clouds. It looks to me like there's a light blue up here. I think will be pretty to have in the painting, in the sky. And okay, that's good enough right now. I'm gonna wash out that last brush I was using, and I'm gonna wipe it down. I've got a paper towel here. Got 2 buckets of water. One is for the first pass, where I get out most of the paint. Now that was the first time that I washed and am cleaning out a brush completely. Part of it is that I haven't needed to very much because it's so much of the same mixture. But now we're going to start getting into some different colors. I'm going to want to mix up some type of soft yellowish, orangish color. That's going to be a little bit muted down, but it's going to kind of tie in with some of the idea of late sun. Then that's going to come into some of the water and some of the land even. I'm just realizing that the land, I kind of made a mistake. There's a darker part of the land and then there's a lighter part of the land. We'll just see. I'll have to keep going. Then there's also a little bit of grass up on this. If I decide, or you decide, that you want to put that green in. But a lot of this has been similar. Same kind of value, same kind of color up till this point. So I'm going to grab some green. This mostly just yellow and blue. There's a chance that there's a little bit of other color. Now that's a little bit strong. I'm mixing some of the gray into it. I like that, I think. I like that. It makes sense to me, at least at this point. So I'm gonna wash that brush one more time into the dirty water, into the clean water, shake it out, wipe it off. I like to get off the majority of the water out of my brush. And now I'm thinking about these trees right here. What I think I'm going to do, I'm going to do a little trick that we might talk more about later in the week, but I think I want to do it right now just to set the stage for what I'm going to do. I'm going to come around the outside edge of these trees. I'm going to just put some highlights of warm, rich color. And the reason I'm doing this is so that we can come back with a lighter color and give at least a better sense of, yeah, I'm not sure. This might be over the top. It might be over the top, but whatever. We're having fun. As I look at it, though, I'm like, wow, all that color right there. I think it'll be all right. I'm just going to have to probably adjust some of this down here. Also, now that I think about it, as I'm doing that, I'm going to come into these areas, some of these areas, and I'm going to bring in some of that same really warm color. Partly, it's just, again, you'll see later in just a minute here what I'm doing and why I'm doing it, but this is really just setting the stage for some of the areas of highlight. And hopefully it will work in the way that I'm thinking. Hopefully it will all tie in and make the lights feel brighter, make the darks and the neutrals and everything like that feel like they make sense, and just it's going to hopefully just kind of exaggerate the difference in between them. And I don't want to put it everywhere necessarily, but this is the chance for me to do it because it's something that it's easier to do at this stage rather than wait. So I can always go over any of this if I want to get rid of it. It does not have to stay. The other place that I would do it that would make a lot of sense would be up here in the sky. Now for this, I'm going to actually add a little bit more yellow in, because I want this to be lighter. Okay. We'll see if that was a little bit too crazy or not. I'm going to wash my brush out one more time. Dirty water, clean water, shake it off a little bit and wipe it down. Okay, now I'm going to mix up a color that's based out of the same colors, except it's going to have a little bit of white in it. I'm going to grab white off of this side. And again, it's got yellow, red, and white. That's what this is made out of. And I'm going to come in here and we're going to cut around some of these other items, these other things, and we're just going to bring in, see, I've got a little bit too much water on my brush again still. So I need to just get some of that off because it's soaking. It's kind of soaking through. I don't know if you can see it exactly, but it's making the paint a little bit too runny. Hopefully this will be a better consistency again. I think it's working. And I'm putting it on fairly thick. It's not just like thinking about this as I'm going, but I think it's going to work all right. You can tell that it's quite a bit brighter than the gray that was down there. And like I said before, I'm not doing a lot of mixing here, blending, smoothing. There's quite a bit that can be done, and as I say that, I end up doing some just because it's my habit to try to soften the edges, especially of clouds. And most things in the distance, actually, I like to have them be a little bit softer. So probably would make that to be a bit of a gradation over towards that other side. Don't really think that needs to be there. Well, isn't this a fun scene to paint here? So I'm actually just putting this on a little bit lighter here now on this side, and I think it's going to look like a gradation enough for us. This is the type of painting that I'm going to end, but you can take further than I am. You can come in and take longer on this. You can do anything that you feel like you would really want. My encouragement for you would be to simply, if you like the idea of, yeah, let's paint looser, let's get that idea happening, then my encouragement is use your big brush for as long as you can, then go to your next biggest brush, use it for as long as you can, and just keep painting that way. Don't let yourself get into tiny brushes early on in the painting, because it's hard to make a painting feel loose and big and broad and kind of fun in those ways. Doesn't mean that it's a bad painting, but again, we're talking about a goal, talking about saying, yeah, we want to do that. If that's you, then use your big brush, then your second biggest brush, then your third biggest brush, you know what I mean. So I'm still using here my second biggest brush. I brought out my one smaller brush, and I can't remember even what I did with it, but I used it once or twice, but not very much. And the whole rest of this painting has been done with this big or second biggest brush, and then the first part of it was done with the actual biggest brush. And here's a chance for me to create a nice strong focal area. If I keep that to be a strong edge, a nice sharp edge there, then I've got a nice contrast with my lightest light and my darkest dark. Plus I've got a good sharp edge. And that basically just means it'll be an easy place for the eye to go, and it'll be something that can stand out. And that's about where I would like to have my focal point. I don't mind that at all right there. Could it be somewhere else? Probably. It probably could work somewhere else too, but I'm actually pretty good with it where it is. And you can do quite a bit more in terms of varying this color that's going in for this water, this reflection. You could probably figure out how to make it quite a bit just add more variety into it. Like I know that there's other places where it is also over on this side. I'm just kind of looking back at the photograph now to see if there's anything that really should be added. But I think it's pretty good. So that's it, guys. That's your demonstration, and I hope it was fun and helpful. It's your turn now. So thanks for joining, and when it's your turn, have as much fun as possible. It's going to be a great time. All right, you guys. So there it is. That is the painting demonstration for today. And hopefully you can take that and dive into it. If you want, I'll go through a few things here. I'll walk through kind of like the options that you have on what you do. But I want to remind you guys of this. Make sure you go to radiantartchallenge.com. Write that down somewhere that you can refer back to, just so that you can always go back and get the reference photos, the replays. You can get the supplies and all sorts of stuff that's going to be really helpful for you. Another thing is, does anybody want some brushes? I thought, let's give away brushes right now. We're going to do a bigger giveaway here in a couple minutes, but I thought we'd run this right now and just give away a set of brushes, because I have these brushes from Princeton. What you'll get is you'll get a number 10 and a number 6. They're amazing, beautiful flat brushes. They're Princeton Aspen. So how you win is you need to chat. So you guys are chatting right now. I see a bunch of people chatting. And so basically that's all that you need to do. And Peter will end up pulling up this page here, and we'll show the winner as it comes. So we'll give you a couple more seconds here where you can just say something. Yes, I love it. I would love the brushes. That's all you need to do, guys, is just chat something here. These are great brushes. Yes, chatting away. There you go. That's all you need. Roar, I need brushes. Okay. Peter, do you have that? Okay.
I do. Let me pull it up here. Do. All right. Let's remove that. All right. Can you see?
Yeah, can see.
All right. Let's draw for this set of brushes here. Let's go for it.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Terry, congratulations. You're the winner. And we will ship you these brushes, but you just need to send us, Peter, I don't know if we have that banner available, but
yeah, let me grab it.
Yeah, just send us an email at support@acrylicuniversity.com, and we will.
Yep. Send it right there.
Right there you go. support@acrylicuniversity.com. Yeah, congratulations. And here's the thing. I'm going to keep going through this because, guys, as we're getting into this, as you're doing your painting, you're going to face some of the obstacles potentially. So remember this: art is more than just skills. It's an adventure. Be patient with yourself and with the process. This is going to make it so much better. And don't ever compare. We all have different backgrounds. We come from different places. We have different stories. In comparison, legitimately, guys, is going to steal your joy. It is a masterclass and challenge. You'll learn a lot here, but it does come with challenges, right? It's not necessarily easy. So as you're here, as you're in the Facebook group, as you're doing this, remember to encourage each other, learn from each other. Let's grow together and let's have a lot of fun. The homework today, guys, is to choose a reference. Like I gave you one. You can use that, or you could pick a scene of your own. If you have something that you would rather paint, you're going to just be bold and courageous. You're going to use your bigger brush, right? Like be more deliberate with that, more intentional. And then would be awesome. If you could take a picture of it, share it in the Facebook group, and then make sure you come back for our session on Wednesday. Because guys, I have a surprise giveaway for Wednesday. Okay. So who's going to be here Wednesday? Everybody, you should say, I am. I am. Be here live on Wednesday. If you remember, we also have a celebration on Monday, but I want to show you on Wednesday, we got Freedom with Color with the amazing Diana Shine. It's going to be so awesome. And of course, we have Friday as well. We have Mastering Light. But remember, day 2 on Wednesday, Freedom with Color, you're going to learn all about how to mix colors. You're going to understand how colors work together, and you're going to gain a lot of freedom and joy. So again, yeah, say I'm there. Day 2, I'm in, because we want you to be there. And it's going to be amazing. And Diana's going to join me here in just a minute for a Q&A. So if you do have any questions that we weren't able to answer, make sure you stick around, because we'll take a little bit of time. And we're going to do this bigger giveaway right now, okay? Because we have a $250 art supplies gift card. Is anybody interested in that? I don't know. That sounds pretty good to me. I could get quite a few canvases for $250. That's a lot of painting I could do for $250. I don't know. Let's see. Is anybody else interested? Looks like it. Heck yeah, I'm in. There we go. I love it. I love it. Please, oh, please. Okay. Wow, amazing. Okay, guys. We'll let this run just for a second more, and then we will draw one of your lucky names. Now, I have to say, man, some people they're good at chatting. They get their name out there all the time. They enter raffles. Renee, my wife, has a relative, I think, who's won like lotteries multiple times, all sorts of stuff. She's from Sweden, and she just enters everything. And I don't know how she does it, but she's won so many different things. So who knows if it'll be somebody who wins a lot, or maybe it'll be you. You're the one that says, I don't think I ever win anything. Today might be your day. Okay, Peter, let's do this again. Okay, we're going to run it, guys. And the winner of $250 gift card is Joyce. Joyce, congratulations. We are very excited for you. Yeah, again, if you won, make sure you email us at support@acrylicuniversity.com. It is the way that we will get your address and all the information that we need to actually send you these gifts. So congratulations, guys. Now it is time for the Q&A. So we're going to pull Diana back on stage, and we are going to answer your questions.
Hopefully. There were a lot of questions scrolling by. People couldn't keep up. So hopefully we'll get to most of them, or
I know.
some of them.
Yeah. We'll answer any questions that we are able to, for sure. I know that I missed a lot of questions. I was trying to do a couple things, make sure that I was prepared for the rest of this time. And I know that I kept coming back and looking up and checking the chat and thinking, oh no, I'm sure I missed something there. But I do see some questions here coming in. Oh yeah, and make sure you go to radiantartchallenge.com. Okay, let's see. Oh my goodness. It's crazy when the comments come in so fast and they just move. It just moves so fast. Okay.
I know.
What are some of the best ways to mix a chromatic black without using black pigment?
Mm.
I'll let you answer.
I have my favorite mixtures. I really love to mix phthalo green, blue shade, and primary magenta together. They make a beautiful, a warm, you can mix it between warm and cool, cooler, tweak it towards a greenish, warmer towards a reddish. You can add a drop of blue in there. I mean, it's and it's darker than black paint.
Yeah. Sometimes those mixes appear darker because they're more, I don't know exactly why, but my guess is because I think the pigments are sometimes more glossy or something. I don't know, but they don't have the matte finish. I know that they're beautiful though. Man, I am having the hardest time in the world keeping up with these questions, honestly. They're flying by so fast. I saw somebody ask this. I'll just answer this because I saw it. I can't find it now, but they asked, was this less in oils or acrylics? It was in acrylics. Yeah. This is what we like to do is really take your acrylics to a different level, right? And I think a lot of times acrylics, Diana's been working in acrylics for decades. I've been working in them for so long. And a lot of times people have these low expectations of what you can do with acrylics. And we just love, taking those expectations and blowing them out of the water and saying, actually, acrylics, no, they're really amazing. Let us show you a little bit. And then you can, even some of the little tools and tricks that you can learn, you'll go, oh, yeah, why was I thinking about them so limited? Okay, should the reflection be lighter or darker than the sky? Oh, Diana probably has a really good answer to that.
Well, I have a whole, next time we do a landscape masterclass, I have a whole thing on water. So reflections in the water, if you're reflecting sky or something light, they're usually darker. If you're reflecting dark trees or something dark, they're usually lighter. The water kind of softens the colors, but usually is just usually. Nature hands you all kinds of stuff. So you got to use your eyes too. Yeah.
And one, my dad used to tell me that reflections are, I don't know if he would say they're usually darker, but I know that he would say in your painting, sometimes it's a good idea to make them a little bit darker. Now, I don't know if that's true across the board. I think like what you need to learn is observation, and then you need to learn how to make your painting the best that it can be as you're observing your painting. Yeah. I can remember this painting. I think it was Edgar Payne, and he had a painting of the Sierra Nevada mountains with a lake. Now, I don't even think that the lake was a real lake. I think he made it up. But the lake was much darker than what it was reflecting. And I remember thinking, I wonder why he did that. And then I put it into a digital program where I could make it the same reflected light, and it didn't look very good. And so it made me go, oh, okay, you know what? Sometimes you just need to make the decision that's going to be best for your composition. And so observe and then create the painting that you want it to be. Okay, Trevor asked, what were you painting on? What was the color used for the base? It was a neutral gray, and it was a canvas panel. It was a 12x16 canvas panel. Good question. Peter, is there any more questions? I can look. Okay, which palette setup do you use for plein air? Oh, plein air. That's an odd question for right now, but I still use a Masterson palette outside usually if I'm painting outside.
Are great because the main complaint about acrylics is how fast they dry. It's also their strength. And if you can keep your palette wet so that your mixtures are always available to you, they'll dry on your canvas and you can paint over, you can soften edges, you can have hard edges. You really have a lot of control because the paint dries so quickly. But on your palette, that Masterson Stay Wet palette, you got to follow the instructions in the written thing. A lot of artists just like throw some water on it and think it's good, but no, you got to really follow the instructions. But it really keeps your paint wet for, while the lid's up, hours and hours, and you put the lid on and they can stay wet for up to a week, maybe more. Some of mine stay wet for a month. So use that Stay Wet palette, save money. You probably save the amount you spent on the palette the first time you use it. So
yeah,
so it's great.
Carol asks, is fat over lean a concern with acrylics? So if you don't know what that means, it means like thick paint over thin paint. Is that the way that you should paint? That's definitely something in oils. It doesn't actually matter in acrylics.
Not at all.
It's one of the things that's great about acrylics. It's very versatile. Don't even worry about it.
No, there's so many things in oil painting that you have to pay attention to. For instance, you paint your darks first and your lights on top because that white paint will pick up and make your colors muddy and dull. But in acrylics, doesn't matter. And some people were asking Jed why he painted the foreground and not the background, why he painted the rocks and not the sky. Again, in acrylics, you can do whatever you want. It doesn't matter because they dry quickly, they're versatile, and you can cover up any little messes you make.
Yeah. I just want to jump in real quick. We should do rapid fire on the questions because we have a ton. So if we can
Are you starring them, Peter?
Yeah, I am.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that we can do that. We can do rapid fire.
Yeah, we got to go quick. All right.
Oh, sorry, Peter.
No, you're good. You're good.
All right.
Monica just donated $2. Thank you. Appreciate that. Hi from Florida. All right. How do you make sure your light source direction looks believable?
Okay, so I talked about this. I actually did more work on that painting and created a stronger source of light up in the sky. And it's really important to know where your light is coming from, and then to create the entire painting showing where that light is. Like if the sun is up in the sky at a certain angle, you need everything in your painting to show that. Meaning from the angle of the shadows to where the highlights are, to where the sky might be getting a little bit lighter as it gets closer to the sun. All of those things will show, oh, that's where the light's coming from. And if you have only a couple of those things off, it'll really mess up the painting.
How do I do a more transparent layer over an object I've painted?
You can use glazing liquid. You can thin your paint with water. Just the thing about using a transparent layer is don't add any titanium white. Titanium white is opaque and it will cover everything, which is great. But to keep your paint transparent, a lot of the paint tubes have a transparency label on the front. They'll tell you how transparent they are. And then you can add glazing liquid. So that's how I do it. Jed?
Do objects get lighter or darker near the horizon?
In my opinion, normally, well, you said objects, huh? That's normally if something's close to the horizon, it means it's farther away from you, for one thing. So it's usually going to be lighter, and the contrast between the values is going to be less. But the other thing that I was thinking you were going to say is like something about reflected light. And I don't know if you've ever noticed this, but even if you're looking out over a field, if you're looking down and if the sun is back behind if you're looking down, the grass is darker, but if you're looking up and it's getting some of that light reflected on the top of the surface, it's going to be lighter because of the actual daylight that's hitting it. So I think both of those reasons, I generally will make the distant things lighter in
and
value.
it's important to really observe. It's important to really look and compare, either with a reference photo or out there in nature, because nature hands us all kinds of interesting things. But Jed, you're right. In general, it's lighter and the contrast is smaller the farther away you go.
You always want to stay away from like general rules that you just apply broadly. Right. Always use your eyes. Did you use a medium? No, I did not use a medium.
Do you prep your canvas with a base color? And if so, how do you decide which color?
That's a great question. And we, for me, I will just say, I just think about the subject that I'm painting. And I just think what would work with this painting. And there's a lot of different options. Like, honestly, you could choose any color pretty much.
Yeah.
It's just what mood do you want? And do you want it to blend or contrast with the subject that you're painting?
What brand of canvas panel?
That was a Centurion linen panel. It's from Jerry's Artorama. That's where I've gotten that before.
Do you ever blend in your style?
Yes.
What did you primer it with? We kind of already answered that. How did you get the canvas so smooth?
It is smooth. It's a linen. It's a very finely woven linen. So it's a really smooth surface.
Yeah. Was it prepped? I don't think beyond just like the gesso that was pre-applied.
Yeah.
And yeah. Is it straight paint or medium added? No, no medium. We already answered that. Did you use medium? My Stay Wet palette sponge gets moldy. Do you wash yours out and let it dry sometimes?
Yeah, I do. And also what we do is we both have found that the sponge sometimes just is the part that gets moldy. So sometimes we just don't even use sponges anymore. We just put paper towels down.
Yep. I use shop towels.
Away.
Yeah. Diane uses shop towels.
Throw them away, switch them out. The sponge is expensive, but the shop towels, you can just take them out and switch them out for new damp towels if you need to. So no mold.
Charfish asks, because you asked so nicely, I know it's a very specific question, but it says, when I paint on windows using acrylic paints, how can they be removed easier without having to use a razor blade? I know that maybe this isn't important to others, but it's a question meaningful for me.
Oh, man. The only thing I could say is if you applied hot water on top of them and let it soak, like if you had hot water on a sponge and just soaked it for a minute, did it again, and then tried to take it off, you'll still need a razor blade probably, but it'll be softer. If it's hot, that paint will be kind of gooey.
Did you decide to leave out the middle ground land because of composition?
Did I leave out the middle ground land? I can't remember.
I don't know.
Probably. Probably.
Can you use a different type of color for blue, for example, if it's slightly off because you don't have the color you suggested?
Diana, what do you think?
Of course. Yeah. It'll look different than Jed's, and it won't be exact, but when is anything ever exact, and why should it be exact? It's your painting. So use whatever you've got, make your own.
Yeah.
If you've got a whole bunch of tubes that aren't those, use one of yours. The painting will be beautiful because it's harmonious, because you've limited colors.
When making grades for rocks and then sand, how many colors do you make? Are they scattered about in a planned manner or just where you feel like placing them?
So what I will do, I was mixing a general color and then I'll just make small variations in it. And as I keep working on a painting, I will be thinking about where's the light coming from. And I will be adjusting my colors based on where the light is. Is this shape in the sunlight or is it in the shadow? Is it closer to the sun? Is it farther away? All of those things, like if it's farther away, I'll add a little bit more blue potentially to it. If it's closer, I might make it a little bit more of like a brownish orange color. Like the sand is all kind of grayish, but it leans in different directions depending on where it is and how much light is touching it.
Yeah.
In varied classes, do you pre-paint canvas before you teach? I'm not sure exactly what
like so on Wednesday, maybe you're asking. I don't know, Diana, did you pre-tone your canvas?
No, I'm on Wednesday. I'm not going to pre-tone my canvas. I am going to tone it, but we're going to do it right then because I like to work into the toned color.
Yeah.
My method and Jed's methods are very different. So I like to put a tone down and then wipe some stuff away. And so don't pre-tone it. Just come with your white canvas. I'm using a 12 by 12 on Wednesday. And we'll do it together, or you can watch me and do it after.
Yeah, totally. Is this style of painting modern impressionism? I don't think labels are super important and can be kind of restrictive, but what would you say, Jed?
You know what? I'm always open to pretty much any title people say. I can't remember I was talking to somebody the other day and I was like, I'm going to make up a brand new name for this because there's no, that's what it was. It was during some conversation we were having with some members of Acrylic University, and they were asking, somebody was showing a painting and they said like, what style do you think this is? Or somebody was trying to label it. And I was like, you know what, man? I think that people just make up those labels somewhere along the line and who knows what it means. But
yeah. Let's see. When are transparent paints best used?
Diana.
I often don't even look at the label for transparent because I have my favorite colors, but quite often it's really good to have a transparent dark. Then you can layer your heavier, more opaque lights on top, and the dark kind of soaks into the background and recedes. That's how I use it, is that beautiful, transparent dark.
Good answer. That's good.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, for sure. Natural brushes or synthetic?
All synthetic with watercolor, or I mean with acrylics, because if you have natural brushes, they get kind of like they soak up the water and they get really weird.
Mm-hmm.
How do you make soft edges?
Well,
there's so many ways.
Yeah, there's so many ways, and one of the easiest ways is just to use your thumb or a finger and just kind of smudge the edge a little bit. Another is with dry brush. Another is going wet against wet and blending it. There's lots of different ways.
Lots of ways. I'm going to go get a paint tube real quick. I'll be back. Someone asked how to know if something's transparent, and I thought I'd show them.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay, I saw. This.
Yeah, go for it.
What medium is easier to work with, acrylic, water, or oil? Well, I'll say this. Watercolor is very difficult because if you make a mistake and you cover white on the paper that you didn't want it to be covered, you kind of are, it's hard. It's hard. It's like hard to fix mistakes in watercolor. Oil it's pretty comparable to acrylics in some ways, like in its ease of use, except for I find it a lot harder. I find it harder to use because the paint stays wet for so long. And it's like, I don't also like using solvents or things like that. So I prefer acrylics. They dry really quickly and you can change your painting really, really quickly because it'll like 5 minutes. Oh, the paint's dry. I can go over with another coat. It's very, very quick.
Yeah.
I don't like to say that it's easy, but I do think it's easier than some of the other mediums.
I've painted in all three long periods of time, and I absolutely adore acrylics. But I have this jar of there we go, golden acrylic paint. There's a swatch across it, and you see these black lines.
Yeah.
Those are showing through the actual paint. That means that paint's transparent. I've got another one with the swatch, and you can't see the black lines. That means the paint's opaque. So
Cool.
if you don't use golden, they will tell you on the back if it's transparent or opaque. You just have to get your magnifying glass out.
Awesome. Is it time to throw out paint when it comes out goopy?
Yeah.
I guess it depends how goopy and what that means.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Do you ever use golden open acrylics?
You know, Carol, I just used them again. I have a set, and I used it down in New Mexico about 3 years ago for the first time, and I really liked it. And the reason I used it was because it was very dry, and the temperature was pretty warm, and I knew that it would last longer, and it actually was great there. And then just maybe 3 weeks ago, I went out and I painted, and it was totally different circumstances. I live in the Northwest. It wasn't hot or dry. It was actually just a normal winter day here. And I had so much fun with them. Honestly, it was kind of, I don't know what I would say, but it was something where I was like, oh, I actually really like these. I think I might use them a little bit more, especially if I'm painting outside.
Yeah.
But yes, I have used them, but only a couple times really, but I like them.
Awesome. What white is a good transparent paint? You mentioned that titanium white is opaque. What would be a better choice?
Well, if you want to cover mistakes and to create layers, titanium is your friend. If you want to make soft, like mist or clouds, or have things show through, zinc white is very transparent. Don't get the two confused, because
Yeah.
you'll just have a mess if you try to put zinc white in your normal mixtures.
Yeah. And so when you're saying what would be a better choice, better if you're looking for transparent is definitely zinc, but better in terms of like better white. Like I use titanium white 99% of the time. It's only in certain situations that I want zinc white, because it's very effective for what it's good at. But most of the time, if I'm wanting to change a color, like if I'm mixing white with anything, titanium is the one that you want. So again, just to clarify, we're not neither of us are saying zinc white is better than titanium white. It's just that if you want something to be transparent,
Yeah.
zinc is the way to go.
Zinc's the way to go. Yeah. Someone asked, what is open acrylics? And I just wanted to say it's a type of acrylic that stays wetter longer. So if you're painting in a hot, dry climate, you use open acrylics. It won't dry on your brush as you put it up onto the canvas. And yeah, that's it. Just stays wetter longer.
Yeah.
Let's see. Oh, what size and type board was being painted on?
12 by 16. It was, I don't think I have one here, but I have something this is what it was pretty much. It's a Centurion linen panel. But the one that I was using was 12 by 16. This one, of course, is 8 by 8. But
Awesome.
You can see it's just a canvas or linen. It's nice. Yeah.
Do Winsor Newton acrylics have the least value shift from wet to dry? Yes. Let's see. Who makes open acrylics? Golden makes some.
That
Thoughts?
might be the only brand. Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Golden is, I think, the only one.
Let's see. Thoughts on mixing white? Is that the same as zinc white? Oh, mixing white.
Yeah, it is. I think it is the same. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I think it's more transparent than titanium white.
Yeah. Do you both of them always use heavy body paint? Yes.
I do. Yeah.
How much darker does acrylic dry compared to wet?
That's a good question. I saw a question earlier that was asking percentage wise. It's not a huge difference. It's just that if you were trying to go back into a part of a painting and match a color exactly, if you match it wet to the dry part, when you put it down and then that wet part dries, you'll notice it's a little bit darker. That's it's not like it's super significant. It's like probably 5%, 5% darker or something like that. 10% maybe.
Let's see. Why did you tape your panel down? Because he's painting on a slant, actually. Slight slant.
Yeah. And it's mostly just for video, honestly. It's just so that it doesn't move out of the camera's view.
Yeah, for sure.
When you're painting boldly, the canvas gets
yeah, for sure. Do you sand your canvas if the texture is not smooth?
No, I don't.
Yeah, I don't either. But I do like the canvas that I painted on for this demo was that canvas panel, and it has a little bit of a texture, but it's still fairly smooth. Yeah. I don't ever mess with those. I just paint directly on top of them. But I don't normally paint on that. I paint on a ultra smooth like gesso board most of the time, and it doesn't really have any texture at all. It's really
Diana
really smooth.
does too.
Yeah, I do. Da Vinci Ultra Smooth. They are a gesso board. Here's the back of it. It comes cradled, and it's like a board, and it's just super smooth, but it has gesso on it, so you don't need to touch it. And then all your brush marks turn out. They show. They, every single brush mark shows up on that super smooth surface.
Yes.
Yeah. They're really cool.
The phthalo blue, was it green or red shade?
Green. Yeah.
Awesome. Let's see. Do you varnish your paintings? Yes.
Yes, we do. Yeah.
Very important. We have a video on the channel of how to varnish your paintings. We also have articles on the website for that. But yeah, they both varnish. Pretty important for protecting your piece. Yeah. If you want to protect it.
Yeah. Peter, over and over, I've seen someone asking about
go for it.
paints on airplanes. And yeah, I pack my tubes in a plastic closable bin. I write on top of the bin that they are non-flammable, non-toxic acrylics, because the TSA doesn't know, and put them in my checked bag, because they're usually more than the 4 ounces allowed in your take-on bag. But just make sure they're labeled non-toxic, non-flammable, and acrylic, so that it just takes the guesswork out and the guys don't have to rip all your stuff apart to get to the truth.
Yeah, that's good. I did see a couple questions of that from different people, actually.
Right.
Jerry Yarnell has a tendency to use gesso wet on wet. Is that good practice, and can use gesso and titanium white interchangeably?
Oh, that's interesting. I think that you could definitely use it interchangeably if you wanted to. I mean, I think that I've seen other people use a certain gesso for their white. Diana, do you do that? I can't remember.
I used to, but one of the things, gesso stays put. It's permanent when it hits. And I'm messy. I get a lot of paint on my clothes. And the paint will come out with using a little hand sanitizer, rubbing alcohol. You can get the paint out of your clothes. Gesso never comes out.
Oh, really?
Forever.
Interesting.
So I don't do that anymore.
Yeah. And one thing. Yeah. You can do whatever you want with your painting. You can do whatever you want with your painting ultimately. And you can have some interesting results for sure.
Acrylic stuff blends, and you can mix things, and it's so adaptable to whatever you want to do with it. So go for it. Try things.
I see this. Oh, whoops, wrong question.
Go ahead.
Are open golden also transparent? I just looked at a set and they are transparent. Should I purchase individually? I think it's just like normal paint in that it's dependent on the pigment that's in the paint.
That's right.
But I would say that I think generally, I would guess, although I could be wrong on this, my guess would be that it might be a little bit more transparent overall than the heavy body, because it has more of the medium in it. It has a slow drying medium in it. That's I mean, I don't know though, because I've used fluid acrylics that are very, very, very opaque. So, and they're really thin. So I don't know. I might be wrong on that, but
No, you're not wrong.
Pigment for sure.
Yeah, it's the pigment. The one I just showed, this red oxide, it's made from dirt. It's made from earth. And those things made from dirt are very opaque, while things that are made not from earth, I'm not sure what derelite yellow is, but it's, it's a more, it's a different process of making. It's not made from dirt, and it is very transparent. So,
yeah.
And those pigments go from all mediums, watercolor, oil, acrylic. They use the same pigment base.
I see a couple questions here that are pretty good. So I'm shocked how quickly you finish a painting. Does speed help you stay loose with your brush strokes? Do you always paint so quickly? I actually think that the way that I painted this one today was a little bit more deliberate than sometimes. I think sometimes I paint faster and more just crazy. But yeah, it does. It totally helps, right? I mean, if you're looking to paint loose, if you set a time constraint on yourself, that's another way to try to paint loose.
Yeah.
Just like using a big brush is. So it'll cause that. And I see this question also, Diana. Is there a way to soften the edges of an object I already painted and it already dried, or is it too late?
It's not too late. The thing is your paint in your palette still wet, or did you write down what paints you used? Because you can recreate the colors you want for that edge and just give it a little smear.
Yeah. Totally.
Okay, here's a question. Oh, sorry, Peter. But what brand of varnish do you use on acrylic? Diana, you got an answer?
I had been using Golden, but they didn't have any more. They stopped making their satin. I like a satin finish. So I switched to Liquitex, and I've been enjoying. I also tried Cheap Joe's, which I really loved, but they went out of business. So
yeah.
Switched to Liquitex, and I'm enjoying Liquitex. So.
And I use this. This is Winsor Newton. It's a spray varnish, and it's just says gloss varnish on it. Winsor Newton Professional. I like it, and it's pretty easy. But you do have to have a place outside to do it. And if you don't want to mess with the fumes, it might not be for you.
This is a great question. What is your motive? Why do you paint? Do you create to connect, express, heal, vent, money? Why? Question mark.
Well, not money. There's a lot easier ways to make money than painting.
There are a lot easier ways.
For me, I was inspired at an early age by the Russian Impressionists, and it moved me so much. There was so much emotion around painting, and it's like poetry. It is like a way to express the world that is beyond words. I talk a lot when I paint, but the painting expresses something that goes deeper than words, and everybody can interpret it with their own emotional point of view. They don't have to have mine. And so it's a way of an interesting way of communication for me. How about you, Jed? What's yours?
Art is a gift.
Yeah.
It's meant to be shared. It's meant to be for you. It's meant to be for other people too.
Yep.
That's awesome.
I see a couple questions here. Oh, okay, cool.
I learned as much from
the Q&A as the demo. Ah, good. That's awesome.
Cool. Hi, I'm Jude. I'm pastel artist for years, getting a little bored with it. Would like to try acrylics. I will be in Washington all summer. Do you have any classes going that I could do?
Yeah, we do.
Good.
I'm trying to think. Oh no, that's actually going to be an oil class. I'm just thinking. Oh, is it? Okay. Amy Erickson is going to be here at our studio in June, and that will be for oils and acrylics. Diana's coming. These are both, I think they're both full unfortunately. Diana's going to be here in March.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't have one planned for the summer. That's going to be a painting workshop right now. So
we do have tons of online lessons going on 24/7 that we're going to talk more about on Wednesday. So that could be an option for you.
Okay. Jay asked, how do you spray varnish in the winter? I have an awning here, and so it's undercover, and it's usually not like super, super cold here, like in the 40s or 50s in the winter. So I feel fine spraying that outside. If it's like that, I just let it sit out there. I have a table that I put it on after I'm done spraying it, and it's out of the weather. But I don't know if you live in some place that's like minus 20. I don't know if that would work for you or not.
Maybe use a brush on varnish instead.
Yeah, I never use the spray on because it affects my lungs. Even if I'm wearing a mask, even if I'm outside. So I always paint it on, and it's non-toxic. You can do it in the winter. I just have a folding table, lay out all my paintings, and varnish them all at once.
Yep. There you go. Diana kind of answered
that question.
Yep. What marker? Just an acrylic paint marker. I think Liquitex.
Yeah. I don't know which kind I use. I've got so many different kinds. I think that one was a Liquitex acrylic marker.
Yeah, he does have a ton of acrylic paint markers though. I love all your Southwest paints that you've done with Desert Cliffs and Cactus when you were in New Mexico. Are you going to do any more of those classes?
Yeah. I just paint kind of like I don't know, inspiration comes in a lot of different ways, right?
Yeah.
So sometimes you see something here, something there. And yeah, but of course I was just down in Arizona last week, and I'm going back to teach a workshop in Scottsdale in I don't know, I think that's in March. I lose track of my schedule. But yeah, so I mean, whenever I am somewhere, I'm taking photographs, I'm going around, and yeah, that's when, you get these little ideas of like, oh, that'd be a cool thing to paint over there.
Yeah, I've noticed that, whenever you paint the desert, the videos and stuff do pretty well.
Oh, good. Yeah. I see here. Let me see this. I value people over profit. If someone tells me that they can get what I create at the dollar store rather than give me what I'm asking, I now can smile and say, go to the dollar store, enjoy.
I love that.
That's funny. How can you fix gallery wrapped canvases that have loosened, creating bubbles in the canvas near corners?
Oh, that's easy. That's super easy. Sunny day, you have to do it when it's warm and sunny. Take it out back and take a hose to the back of the canvas and set it in the sun, and it'll tighten right up. You can also, if you don't want to do that, if you're scared, take a wet sponge and sponge the back of the canvas. The water will re-wet the canvas and it'll stretch tight again.
Gotcha. Have you ever done that, Diane? Have you ever hosed the back of a...
Oh, you bet. Yeah, I used to paint huge, like 5 and 6 foot paintings, and the canvas would buckle, and it just the acrylic paints, it doesn't hurt it. You just take them out on the lawn and squirt it down, dump off the excess water, and let the sun dry it. And
love it.
Tight as a drum. Yeah.
Do you only paint landscapes?
No,
not at all. Everything is everything's open season for me.
yeah, for sure. Was that a Winsor Newton yellow Jeb was using? It's much brighter and cleaner than mine, which looked dingy.
I don't know. I honestly, sometimes I intermix my paints. Sometimes it's a lot of times it's Winsor Newton, but if I am out of yellow at that point, I'll grab something else. Like I have a Liquitex tube right here, and the thing is that I never use anything that's not a high quality professional yellow. Like you'll never catch me. I used to try every once in a while. Like I think it was probably like 3 or 4 or 5 years ago. I like bought some. I was like, oh well, I'll just use this cheaper paint on this something. I don't know what it was, and I got this orange or some color, and it was the worst for trying to cover anything and mix colors and anything. So I will always have a nice high quality yellow, and so. If yours was a student grade yellow or something like that, then yeah, there's going to be a big difference there because it just won't have the right amount of pigment. But if you have a nice quality yellow, like it might have just been the way that it looked on the camera, it might have been something else, or it might have been a different yellow.
Yeah.
One of the things you did, Jed, was you put it next to purple, and yellow always looks brighter when you lay it next to its opposite on the color wheel, purple.
Yeah.
Gonna look almost neon if you put it, especially if the purple's a little dull, then your bright yellow is just gonna glow. So that was a trick you did that made your high quality yellow even brighter.
Compliment. Yeah. Okay, I see Jude, you live in Arizona. I'm coming to Scottsdale. So it'll be at the Scottsdale Artist School in March, and love to have you there.
Mm-hmm.
What do you use to take your photos? Just my iPhone.
Yeah.
Nothing fancy. Okay. But I saw this earlier. Somebody asked, are acrylic markers an effective option over a brushed acrylic layer? I mean, they can be. Yeah, they're because of the versatility of acrylics. You know, you don't have to do thin, then thick. You can do thick, then thin over the top. A marker is always going to be a thin type of acrylic, right? It's not going to be thick. So, but because it is a versatile medium, yeah, you could put it over the top. I don't use it over the top that often, but I do sign every painting with like this red marker right here. It's just way easier to sign. But every once in a while, in the past, I can tell you, like for telephone wires or something like that, it was like a really thin like line that I wanted to make. Every once in a while I'll get it out and I'll do something really specific. It's just not that often, but you can.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Do you always draw first or map out? No, not always. I don't know about you, Diana, but like there's just different paintings that happen in a different way. But so like there might be a painting that I start really, really loose and kind of like with a big wash. I don't draw at all. And then I'll just start putting more paint over the top, and it's still wet, but it's kind of blending and doing all these different things. And then I'll start shaping shapes out of it kind of as I'm going. But most of the time, probably 90% of the time, I do some kind of drawing, whether that's with a pencil or a marker or with just even the paintbrush itself, just to give myself a sense of this is my canvas. Here's the edges of the canvas. This is where I'm putting the subject of the painting.
Yeah, I will mark in where I want my biggest shape elements to go to make sure my composition is good, and then I can do a wash over it or whatever. But I often will just make big shapes where things are going to be placed, in the size. If it's a really complicated image, I'll draw it on, but usually it's just shapes to help me set my composition, make sure the eye, your eye can get in and around the painting properly, and it will balance and not look crooked on the wall because there's too much dark over there. Yeah.
Somebody asked what acrylic pen that I use for the red to sign. And this says Thule Art on it. Honestly, this is one of the ones that I've had a hard time finding again. I bought a set on Amazon, but I think that it's like a generic brand that different companies buy and they just put their label on it. But I don't even know how to describe it. It's I've found other ones since then that are very similar, and I've used them. So like this is one called Zayar. I don't know. It's just on Amazon.
Yeah.
I just
I got a
buy
bunch
a
of
set.
them.
No, I can't buy one at a time. You have to buy like 12.
Yeah. Someone asked if they needed to learn to draw. And if you want your things to have a sense of realism, you should learn to draw. If you just want to get the paint out and be expressive, you might be able to put that off for a while. But usually what happens is you hit a wall and your things are turning out right, and distance doesn't look right, and perspective doesn't look right, and your shapes are all wonky. And it's time then, when you hit that wall, you'll learn to draw. Take a good drawing course. It's important when you feel frustrated. And yeah, drawing and
matters.
Yeah, it matters. Drawing and painting are like clasped hands. They need to go together.
And having said clasped hands, I've got 2 more questions. We're going to answer them real quick, and then we're going to get out of here. We got to see you guys on Wednesday. Is there a photo of your finished painting from today? Yes. I think that if you go to radiantartchallenge.com, it will be there. There'll be a finished painting of
there is
finished photo of the painting. And then the last question is, whoops, wrong one. Sorry. How do you handle the raw edges on a wood panel? Like Diana was showing, and this is one right here. It's got raw wood edges. I just leave them. Honestly, I like the way that they look. I sand them down, and I just put a backing on there, and I leave it. But you can paint it if you want, or you can stain it if you wanted. But you guys, that's the last question that we can do today.
Yep.
It's been such a blast. Such a blast. And we're gonna see you guys. I don't really know if I have any slides that I need to show. All I was gonna say is you are loved and believed in. So guys, do your homework. Come back Wednesday. We're gonna have a great time together. Diana is going to share her secrets of color and how to have freedom in color. Diana, thank you for doing this.
Thank you for having me. This is great. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, guys, adios from all of us. We love you.
Bye.
We'll see you guys Wednesday.
Bye.
Love you guys.